because these are all things I've already made before. But first, let you know that I am in fact live. So I'm making a kangaroo, which is one of my patterns, and I kept dreaming about it for the last 2 nights in a row. So this is technically not a scrap busting video. However, this blue fabric, the little piece left, because there's only a tiny little bit left, so I'm turning that into a scrap busting pattern. And technically, this was a scrap. So I mean, it wasn't really a scrap bag, because the main fabric I'm about to show you wasn't scrap. Don't come for me. I kept dreaming about it, so apparently I just have to do it to get it out of my brain. Hello, Hazel. Right, this is going to be a little thing. You're watching one of my old videos. Well, here's a new video. I found my double-sided tape, my thick one. It was just in a different box. So I bought this design from Urban Threads, which I think is fantastic. And I have put the interfacing that I used, or I use actual interfacing for stabilizer. I used my Hefty, which is a Vilene 1050F. It is technically iron-on. I just didn't iron it on. So I hooped this up and then I floated my vinyl on top so I didn't get any marks. And I think this looks epic. It was only a 3 colors. I absolutely love this design. And it's going with Inklings and the Kraken's Dungeons and Dragons themed vinyl. So, and those browns just happen to be pretty close. Like, they're not perfect, but they are pretty close. So, because of that, I'm just going to sew this first because it's going to be a wristlet strap. The hardware for the actual wristlet straps is in my shed. I've also convinced my husband not to kick me out of here anytime soon. So we're going to see how long I can actually stay inside. It's much more convenient with all my stuff inside. I can pop out and like cut something and then walk away. It's much different when you're out in the shed. And while I do like having my own space, this is definitely more convenient, especially lately with the rain, because I won't want to go out and get all my feet wet. It'll annoy me. So normally I would iron this, but technically I haven't actually set up an ironing board. All my ironing has been done with the heat press this week. So instead of my usual thing where I iron the interfacing on and then cut around it, I've actually been using the pattern pieces to cut out my interfacing. It's a bit crooked. It's the curse of using double-sided tape for these things. See, look, see that? That's unacceptable. It'll look weird. So I do need to fix it. I've also come up with another scrap busting pattern that will be a video that is pre-recorded after this and after I do a little bit of cleaning. I've got to put on some washing. So I do plan on doing that. I'm going to make little snack bags. I've been trying to think of a way. Hello, Amanda. I've been trying to think of a way to use up all of my childish fabrics. I have a lot of them. Turns out I don't really use them. So I'm also going to stop buying them. But I have so much. I've been trying to figure out what I should make them that will most likely sell. So someone did suggest aprons. So I'm probably going to do some of them in aprons. But I also am going to make the hacked version of the H2O, but I'm going to use plastic hardware and just black strapping for all of them rather than like fancy ones, so they'll be a little bit cheaper than the adult ones that are all pretty. And I'm going to make these snack bags. Now I'm going to use sizes where I already have templates. So I will be using templates from my strumpet pattern to make the things. I have plans. I even went to the shops. Oh, I got my nail fixed. The shops are back open up here, or at least most of them. So I got my nail fixed, so it's no longer like weird. It's so much nicer. Where are you sewing in the house? So this is our downstairs area. So technically they made like an extension to the house. It's all, you take like 2 steps down and it's all shiny black tiles. So I call it the black tile area because I haven't named it something cool yet. So basically I have taken over a space that is probably 3 times my original sewing room size. I have the laser behind me. So this is the laser here. So the table where I normally do lasering, and that's a window that we just never opened that. We never opened that window because the glare from my videos annoys me. So I put light blocking curtains up. It's all good. But this space is huge. I love it here. If I could get away with it, I would stay here forever. Hubby will not be happy about that though. Eventually he's going to want the space back, but until all of my rain has gone, I'm not leaving. So I just discussed it within them. I'm like, please don't kick me out. I like it here. So here's the thing. If I could try and be a bit sneaky and just give it everything more of a permanent home rather than scattered, because if it doesn't look messy, I'm hoping he won't kick me out so much. I'd even compromise and keep like half the stuff that I've brought in, I would keep out there and only bring it in when I need to. Or I could give him the space because he does interviews of strongman people around the world. And he likes to do like set up and do interviews. So I'm thinking maybe I could convince him that it could be his office. I don't know. We'll see. But I do like it here because I can get more done in a day. I love that I have my own space, but being inside, like if I'm cooking roast, I can put the roast on and then just come out here and cut things and iron things. And then I can stop and start. It doesn't have to be like a whole outside mission. Also, like Jesse right now is in his bedroom. I can keep an ear on him. Even though I can't see him, I can hear if he's doing anything naughty. Whereas out in the shed, he's literally left to his own devices. And from where I'm sitting, I can see into the kitchen too. It is wonderful. If I was to stay, I would probably move myself over closer to the windows and have natural light. And surround myself with plants. Because I have a lot of indoor plants. Like a lot. I really like plants. And it turns out I'm very good at indoor gardening. Who knew? Outdoors a bit more 50-50, but that's mainly due to Townsville's sun likes to kill everything that's not used to intense sun. So I don't plan on putting a little extra thing on this. This is just going to be a half strap. So I'm really making sure that the join here is almost non-existent. Right, and it will look fabulous. Lots of green, which was a fluke. I did not do that deliberately. So if I go 1/2 inch, I need to go 1/8 of an inch each side of the inner line. So I'm going to do this one upside down. Have I converted anybody else to hooning yet? It is so much fun. I do understand, hubby. He does, you know, it does look messy in here at the moment. But if I tried hard enough, I could probably tidy quite a few things up. So maybe that might be my mission a bit later. Also, if I start hoarding less things, that would solve a lot of problems too. That was technically still not full speed, ladies and gentlemen. one. This thing is a beast. All right, I am now also going to sew on the edges because it looks pretty and it'll make the things flatter. You absolutely do not need this much stitching, but this will make the strap flatter and therefore prettier. Sounds like a chainsaw a little bit, but we're fine. Stitch, back stitch, feed it all down, sit it nice and smooth, and off we go. Whoa! That's a new one, even for me, ladies and gentlemen. But since it happened, we'll put the other one back on. The foot just vibrated out. That's a new one. I've never had that happen before. Whatever. Scared me too. I promise, that absolutely scared me. One day something's gonna flick up into my eye. It's gonna freak me out. But until then, we're fine. All right, foot down, off we go. Make sure it didn't mess up any of my stitches. Nah, we're good. Only on a live, right? Nothing this dramatic ever happens when I'm not live. Looks pretty though. See that? Pretty. Worth it. It absolutely scared me. Thought it was going to be a needle. It was a whole foot. Good job, mate. All right. One fabulous strap. I'm using gold. I wanted to use gunmetal hardware, but I've run out of these in gunmetal, which is so annoying. So we are going to do gold. This end. Yeah, I wonder how this is going. See, that's already loose too. Just my luck. Oh, and I'm also just on a normal stitch length, guys. I didn't even change it. Oopsies. Not that it really matters. Should be right. Barn door. Trim the tails. Make sure you got a bin handy. I'm going to try really hard to not make too much mess inside. It's the mess hubby doesn't like. So if I can solve all the problem of the mess, we'll be fine. All right, so now that the strap's done, I'm going to put that aside. And we're going to grab some bits. Now, for those that have come in a little bit later, this is my beautiful flap. Is that not fantastic? This is an Urban Threads design. I bought it the other day. They had 70% off sale, so I could justify buying two. I bought this one, and I brought another one that says, it's not procrastinating, it's a side quest. I don't even play Dungeons & Dragons, but these things amuse me, okay? So let's start with this one. So this was the vinyl from Inklings and the Kraken. It's her buttery smooth and it's pretty. And this fabric, I just happened to find in my cupboard. I forgot about it entirely. It was from Spoonflower, custom ordered for somebody else that wanted a wallet in this. And they absolutely had to have it. And this is what's left over. So it's the blue fabric that inspired me to buy this at all. But then I forgot about it. And then I started dreaming about that design. So here we are. My brain knows what it wants. I've also left my clips all the way over there. So I'm probably going to have to get up and grab them. I'm going to use 3/8 of an inch today because why not? Did you know a lot of my patterns you can do 3/8 instead of 1/2 inch? It just makes everything that little bit bigger. Oh. Alright. What does it say? It says, what doesn't kill you gives you XP, which I believe stands for experience, which is how you level up in your game. So I will be selling this bag for $95. It will be, so my normal standard kangaroos are sell for $85. This one's going to be extra because A, the embroidery, which takes time, effort, more money, and B, because I can't get the spoonflower fabric. Well, I probably could, but I won't be getting the spoonflower fabric again. So this really will be a one-off bag, which I think is going to look amazing. So that's the back slip pocket done. Now I've only got 2 zipper pockets to do. I've only cut 2 because I ran out of fabric. So I've used the brown waterproof canvas that came in our Mystical Mushroom subscription box thing. And I've only put foam on the gusset pieces and not the zipper top one. So this is what I'm after right now, if you want to know what the hell I'm doing. This is the back piece. So if you wanted to as well, I could have made this plain and done embroidery here, like the big Dungeons and Dragons symbol, which I know that you can get from String Theory Fabric Art. And I don't know why my brain remembers all these things, but it does. So here we go. I'm just going to tack these together. I didn't put foam interfacing on these pieces because this is going to be 2 layers of vinyl thick, which should give it enough to just stand up by itself. That also depends though on what vinyl you are using, so at your own discretion, use whatever you want. Because I'm not the boss of you. Trim, trim, voila, back panel complete. Hello everybody. And so now I'm going to clip it back to, actually no, I'm going to take one of these and a zipper pocket. I did brown because it matches the, corresponding stuff. Now, my Tory pockets I left in the shed because I'm special like that. And again, I will slowly just bring out more stuff. This morning I went out there actually and got my clear vinyl, some more clothing sewing patterns, and the stuff I use to trace clothing patterns because I really want to make myself some pretty new clothes. So we're going to measure, I love this ruler. This ruler is also from Bromax. So handy. It's much like the 1x14 inch ruler you can get from Spotlight, but it's only 10 inches and it's just much more manageable being that much shorter. I don't know why it is, but it is. All right, so I've drawn my zipper box. I've got my fabulous fabric. So I have put a medium non-woven iron-on interfacing attached to the back of this, if anybody needs to know that. I am also, before I go attaching things, going to find the center point of all 4 sides. It's relevant, I promise. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. I know you've been getting a lot of lives lately, but it's mainly because my child's still home. Ah, looks so good. Okay, lining this up. I want it up fairly high. but not so high it's outrageous. And that's not all centered. That looks pretty centered, but it looks crooked to me. Hold that thought. You can measure it with a ruler if you need to. Yeah, wicked. Alright, so under we go, and I'm just going to stitch the long lines. Probably shouldn't have done it in pen, it's very hard to see. Lift, twist, and down. Who else has started joining the hooning club where you do straight lines really fast? I am curious if anybody else is joining me. I hope so. It's fun. And if sewing's not fun, then what's the point? Cut those jump stitches because they just get in the way. Also check on the back to make sure your lines are straight. Okay, I need to grab some scissors and my clips, so give me 1 second. Might turn on the other light too, makes it a bit easier to see. Scissors. Air conditioning because it's getting hot. All the things. Better. Hubby had to go into work for a little bit today. And I've given Jesse YouTube, so he will quite happily behave himself so I don't take it off him. He's worked it out. If he's quiet, I don't take it away. But if he starts like yelling at the screen, it's got to go off. Alright, so we're going to just finger press this down because waterproof canvas bends really, really well. Finger press down. I also thought I might make some 80% ragga brushes out of some of the kids' fabric as well, especially the Disney Princess stuff, because it would be a great gym bag, ballet bag, overnight bag, weekend bag, you know. At 80%, it's a really good kid size, travel-y type bag. So I think a lot of the cartoony stuff will turn out to be that. All right, beautiful. I'm using the brown with the gold teeth. I have so much gold teeth zipper tape, like a lot. If I wanted to, because it's the inside, I could use a blue zipper here and have different colored zippers with the gold teeth. It would also look nice, but I'm not. I'm just using my handy dandy chunky. These are my favorite zippers. Sometimes I go through a zipper phase where I buy like custom ones. But you really can't beat these because if you wanted to, you could hang little charms off them. I tend to not do it, but only because I don't have a box of handy dandy charms. One day soon, and I say soon quite literally, I am going to get little like circles to hang with little jump rings, and then I'm going to laser pictures and start hanging them off the zippers because in my brain that is really cool. And because I can. Why have lasers if I don't use them to the fullest extent of their abilities when it comes to bag making? If it wasn't toxic, I would literally use the laser to cut out all my vinyl. But unfortunately, it creates a toxic gas that I'm really not interested in doing. As I'm sure you can imagine why. Line it up nicely. Zip the zipper. Always do in front of the zipper, and that way it doesn't distort anything and everything can be pretty. And even though I'm all obsessed with hooning, at no point do you have to feel like you need to sew as fast as me. if slow sewing is your jam, you go right ahead. Oi. Also, I'm in a wooden chair. I am really very much enjoying it more than my swivel chair. So I definitely think I need to get onto that. Although I want one with cushioning because this one's all wood and it does make my butt feel a bit bony. Stitch, back stitch. Now you can make this bag with binding if you wanted to. I'm not going to, so I'm going to leave the bottom of this open. But if you wanted to do binding on this, you absolutely can. Whatever makes you happy. I don't know if I've done a video with binding or not, but it can be done. Not today, but you absolutely could. Some people just really love binding. It does make construction quicker, and sometimes it does make the curves of things sit nicer. You bought supplies to do that with my Cricut and sucked out. You should do it. Absolutely. Do it. Inspire me. Show me how you were going to do it with HTV or whatever, stickers, and I'll do it. Oh, I also brought in all my HTV, and I've messaged my friend about designing holy scrap for a shirt. It's happening. See, that's cute. Even though it's brown, it'll still match. But you could have done blue on the inside. It still would have been fine. All the options, people. My patterns are mere suggestions. They are not rules of thumb. You can make this bag without the flap. Quite a cute, actually, I should do that. It is quite a cute bag. Not everybody likes flaps. I just do. I have a thing for them, apparently. Who knew? So again, for those that have come in late, it says, what doesn't kill you gives you XP. I don't play Dungeons and Dragons. I actually don't know anyone that does. Which is a bit sad. But I also feel like I might become a bit obsessed if I did. Now on my bag that I made, I put a zipper here. I'm not doing that today because I really just want this to be the sole focus of life. It is amazing. It's only 3 color changes too, which for Urban Threads is quite few. Usually they have a crap ton. Not HT, I was going to engrave butterflies onto the metal discs from Spotlight. We should absolutely do that. I don't have the engraver. I wonder how much it is. Is the engraver thing for Cricut expensive? Not that I necessarily need it, but still, how cool would that be? The answer is very. So this is one of the few things I absolutely insist on clipping. While I don't need a lot of clips, we definitely need some. And I'm pretty sure Sandra's not here yet, but I'm wearing the ring that she gave me. It says seems legit. I am obsessed, but I don't wear it all the time for fear that I'll break it, like my wedding ring, or my engagement ring, technically. I went into like the food crisper in the bottom, and I broke like some of the diamonds fell out of the ring, like it got caught and ripped the diamonds out. So I got it fixed. To get them put back in was like $360. I had them all. It was just to put them back in. So now I'm really paranoid to wear it. Good job, mate. It is pretty. I pull it out on occasion, but in the meantime, me and my husband wear matching $12 rings we got at a market before I had lasers. His ring doesn't fit him anymore anyway, because his fingers got bigger due to the whole strongman thing. His hands are weapons. So for those that were here for yesterday's live, where we were talking to Stormy Jack, he is going to send me a bunch of cool guides that we attach somewhere. It's like one of those spinny ones you see on some of the videos. So I will be giving those away when they arrive. $50-ish. That's pretty good. But no, I definitely think I want to get some discs in. I could probably only get silver and gold. Little stainless steel discs with some jump rings and just attach things. So on one side, I could put my logo, and then on the other side, I could put a dragon. Or, you know, whatever theme of bag we're doing. And it's just, I another thing that can be done. Cut off the excess with your zigzag scissors, which for those that don't remember, are laser engraved, and it's a skull damask pattern. Damask, I don't know. Whatever. Victorian Gothic era. I have seen people use those, the metal pronged bag tags, and then they cut like HTV or stickers, stuck it on, and then put UV resin over the top and then cured it so that their logo was colored and on it. I mean, that's a lot of effort, but you know, you could do whatever color you want it. So you could do like a gold tag with purple logo and stuff. I did see that somewhere. That was pretty cool. All right. It's looking good. I'm gonna roll that edge, and then we're gonna top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. So this design took about an hour to stitch out because I'd had it on slow because the thread was breaking, which is just rude, very annoying, but what do you do? Really not much you can do, to be honest. I really hope my embroidery machine never breaks because I will probably never be able to afford to replace it. But so far it goes pretty good. As long as I slow it right down, it's fine. You could also change the shape of this flap. I feel like that should be one of my, like, let's alter a pattern videos. Boom. Pretty. So good. All right, next up, let's do the front. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm just doing bits here and there. Whatever. Actually, let's do the zipper since I've just grabbed it. All of these things you can do independently. It's just the final construction that kind of has an order. Now, this I cut next to each other so that the design, see that? The design is going to match. This one not so much, but it's the inside. Nobody sees it anyway. Nobody sees under your zipper. So we're going to put it here and clip it down. You can use the double-sided tape for this, the 1/8 of an inch or 3 millimeters, depending on how you measure things. You should absolutely make some custom stuff, but what you should do is you should sit and make a whole bunch. So maybe pull out your fabrics and go, okay, I need one cat and I need one Star Wars and one this, and then just spend half a day and make them all. So that it's like prepping, like production engraving. That would be very cool. You should absolutely use it. Besides, we are scrap busting this February, and if they're not ever going to be used as a regular thing, I classify those rings therefore as scrap. So it's still relevant and you should do it. And even though this wasn't scrap, technically the piece that I embroidered on was scrap. And now that I've cut out the bag, the blue lining fabric, I have a scrap piece. So I can justify that. And also I kept dreaming about this bag because it's all I wanted to make. So it's better to get it out of my brain so I can concentrate on other things. Alrighty. Under, stitch, back stitch. Now, if you are doing binding, pull both sides back. But I'm not, so I'm just going to pull the one side back and top stitch. You'll also notice I'm not changing my stitch length today. I'm not feeling it, so I'm not doing it. You don't have to change your stitch length. Sometimes it looks decorative and sometimes it doesn't matter. This stitch length right here is technically set at 2.5. On the green machine, that would be a 4. So I don't change it because I don't need to. Now I wish I had little circular discs to laser engrave. I need a more powerful laser if I want to laser engrave the actual zipper pulls. You require at least a 2-watt infrared laser, which was my old machine, and I gave that to my brother because I have all the other machines. But in a perfect world, one day I am going to get one of those again, and then everything will be custom. You can buy the 2-watt module for my S1 Slayer, for those that know what I named my laser. I don't need a crazy powerful one because I won't use it for its full potential. But I would love to just customize all the things ever. I can't help it. You can also outsource all of these things, but I really just like to do it myself. Because at some point, it becomes cheaper to do it yourself than to constantly pay someone else. Alright. So now that I've got that, it lines up pretty well, I think. We're going to take the zipper pull and pull that on as well, so that I don't forget, because we all know I might. Yeah, I'm messing with your head. Honing and spooked out. Honing your skills. Better mastering your skills is honing, yes? Alright. Level it up, push it on, zipper up. Oh, I'm getting faster and faster at that. Now, before I forget, because we all know I might, we're going to take this, we're going to cut off 3 inches off the end. 1, 2, 3. Actually, you could probably get away with 2.5 if you wanted to. I'm just going to cut off about that much. Take this bad boy and stick it to this side. Because otherwise I might forget later. It has been known to happen. I am not the smartest little turkey in the shed. So we're just going to stitch that down. Like so. And then we're going to take our strap, feed it up and in, up, down, and make sure nothing's twisted, and then sew it to here. Now this is just a way to save hardware. You can of course put D-rings here and have your strap removable. You have lots of options. I'm picking this one. It requires less hardware, which means technically you could sell it for cheaper. Also, somebody can't take off the strap, so it's less likely to be stolen because the strap is not removable. And I originally designed this as a really cool, like, international travel bag. So you can also add RFID fabric, and then it's like almost steel-proof. So that's what we've got now. The strap is just on. Hopefully it won't get in the way. So that's most of my little pieces. I have one more zipper, so let's do that. let's do all the front, which is pretty much the rest, because all the other pieces are kind of built. And I've just realized I did not cut a handle, so I might actually just end up using this as a handle, because why not? Oh, actually, maybe not. And the reason maybe not is because that as a handle on the outside will get dirty quickly, and I would prefer for that not to be a thing. Food for thought, you know. We're also going to take these. So these are my gusset pieces. I did the foam all the way to the edge because this machine can handle it. So if you have a domestic machine, cut it to the inside of your seam allowance. But I have a glorious machine that will do as it's damn well told. So it'll be fine. So we're just going to sew, back stitch, sew, back stitch, and then you can swivel it around, open up the seam allowance, flatten it out, and top stitch each side. This is pretty and supportive. And then the other side. So I'm stitching it 1/8 of an inch each side of that seam. It's not just about being decorative. It also holds that nice and flat. So even though I've got foam in it, see how it's not like crazy puffy? Alright, then we're going to grab this side. So I did fussy cut these so that something was in the middle. So on this side it says damage dealer, and then this one says unfortunate fellow. So I did make it so that like a design was centered because I thought that would be prettier. Did it waste a little bit? Yes, but really not very much. And therefore worth it to me. More often than not, fussy cutting is worth it because it makes the bag look better. Not always, but most of the time. And the other side, 1/8 of an inch each side. You can actually do anywhere up to like 3/8 of an inch if you want to sew further away, because technically there is a little bit there, and you could cut that off if you want to, but it's really not bothering me. So that's our gusset. And then we can do our other gusset. So again, base piece, and then we'll build the front. I don't know why I build the front last. I just do. Personal preference. So we're going to line this up, stitch, back stitch, and then this side. And because it's the lining, I can pretty much just bunch it up and chain stitch. We all know how much I love chain stitching. Trim the tail in between. Gusset lining done. If you want to, you can iron these open, or you can top stitch them like we did the exterior. Both things are acceptable. This is my kangaroo pattern. I love this pattern. This is currently the shape of bag I am carrying. It's big enough to fit everything. It's got pockets enough to organize, but not so much that it's overwhelming. I love this bag. I've also, so the original pattern came with like 2 lines here, so you've got a pen spot. What I've ended up doing is either put the pens to the side or just split it 2/3 and 1/3, because I do also understand that a lot of people carry pens anymore. You all just type stuff in your phone, which is fine. So sometimes I do the pen pocket, sometimes I don't. Should I make everything the same? Probably. Will I? Absolutely not. It's not as much fun. Alrighty. So I'm just going to finger press that flat, pinch it over, top stitch it down. I'm also nearly out of bobbin thread. I can hear it. Oh, that sucks. I missed by 3 stitches. Ah, oh, stop it. Okay. Oh, and it's just started raining again. For all of those that are concerned about my rain situation, it did stop last night. Most of the shops are open today. Probably not all, but most. I will not be driving over a bridge anytime soon because I have seen Final Destination 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I am just not going to go after a big ass storm when I know other bridges in the area have in fact broken. I'm sure they're fine, and I'm sure everybody else is driving on them, but I am quite happy to just stay home. There's no bridge between me and the local shops I use. The only thing that I can't get to without driving on a bridge is Spotlight. But I feel like I've probably got enough going on right now. Always wind your bobbins at full speed ahead. It helps to push all the oil through your machine, which is really good for it. Just don't let everything vibrate off the table. Or the foot fall off, like happened earlier. Excellent. We'll be using rivet magnets again today because they're the only magnets I carry these days. And I also need to figure out where I'm putting my logo, because we are absolutely doing the logo thing. This year for me is all about branding and making sure that people know that I made whatever it is we're looking at. So feel free to join me on that journey. I'm sure I will constantly remind you, mainly because I have to say it out loud to remind myself. So I made a bunch of really cool laser engraved leatherette tags. They are black, and then when you laser it down, I've got silver and gold options. So obviously today I'll be doing the gold option. And I put gunmetal hardware with silver, and I put rainbow and bronze with the gold because I haven't found other colors. I live in Florida, and my biggest fear is bridges, so I tend to travel around them. It's not that I'll never travel on it. I'm just going to wait a little bit, make sure it's not going to collapse after the insane amount of rain that's been pushing against it. So these are my little tags I did. This is my new logo that I put on bags. So my original logo will stay, well, it's not even my original, but the cool one with the bobbin will stay for patterns, but this one is to put on these things. And normally I put like a little border around it, but I don't know if I want to. Yeah, so it is raining again. It's just not as intense. I am hoping it doesn't go back to being that intense, but honestly, who knows? Could go either way. I am going to grab some of the scrap vinyl piece that I have left over from the flap, because I think I do like the border, so I should probably do it. So this is the scrap that's left. All I did was cut a flap from this, and this is what I've got left. So it's like a weird piece. There's not much we can do for that. I'm not throwing it out though, because it has its uses, believe it or not. Maybe I'm a hoarder, but probably not. I could probably get a pocket pal out of this, and even though it's plain, I could laser engrave it. Not laser, embroider it and make it look fabulous. So my tags are, and I made this size up, my tags are 1 1/4 inch. So what I'm going to cut is a rectangle that is 1 3/4 inches to just give me a bit of a border, but 2 inches is too big, weirdly enough. So I'm just going to cut that. We can also make our strap out of that too, right? So it's got a bit of a border. Now you could make it less of a border if you wanted to. Choice is yours. I am not the boss of you. I am merely here for suggestions. And then I'm gonna cut 10 by 2 because I'm guessing this size. Because honestly, who knows with me? I could have done any size. And that is going to be my little handle because I didn't put a handle on my bag and I do actually regret that. The handle would be very handy to hang it. You miss which vinyl? This one or this one? Okay. Technically this is iron-on, but I am not getting out to turn things on. So we're not doing that. So I'm just going to use double-sided tape. I'm classy like that. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to make a template, a laser template, or even wood, doesn't really matter. So I can put this right on and then easily place this right in the center because this is the bit that gets tricky. If it's crooked, you'll notice. The brown, it is called Antelope, I believe. I didn't think they discontinued it. I just don't personally stock the vinyl anymore. Due to lack of space for cutting. So I'm just gonna hold it and push it. Nailed it. So this color, I'm fairly confident, is called Antelope. Don't ask me why I remember that. I'll just do. We're going to put 2 strips of this. Because these tend to, little things like this, tend to try and shift when you're sewing them because they're jerks. So lots of double-sided tape helps prevent it from moving. Pretty. See, so now when I put that on, I don't know if I'm going to put it there or not yet, but yeah, like, it makes it more, like, especially if you went, like, over that, it just makes it stand out a bit more. I like it. Ah, they're out of it. That sucks. I do like Antelope. It definitely has its place. It's really good for, like, a baby bag brown. That's why I originally bought some. It's like a soft brown. I don't know. I do it with baby bags. I think it looks good. Okay. One side. Other side. Handle achieved. I went through your old order to write down the names. Well, that makes sense. I did just name them what they named them. I don't always have to be fancy. I renamed the zipper pulls fun things because they didn't come with a name. They were just what they were. Alright, so there's the center. And then I'm just going to eyeball it and put a snip. Upside down. Place it. Foot up. Tack it down. Run across because it's easier. Handle. Ta-da! You could make a smaller handle. It's not a big deal. Maybe 8 inches would also work. Either way, it is quite a handy handle. You got to remember that it'll be about that big. It's a handy handle. I like that. Hello, Vivian. Vivian. Sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. I promise it is not intentional. All right, so with this, I'm actually thinking, instead of front and center, I'm gonna put it offside, but just not where the magnet has to go. Very important. So I'm gonna peel off the backing. You could also put a basting spray, very optional. I don't know if I want it in the middle. I understand my logo is important. I'm definitely not putting it on the flap. It'll wreck it. Ugh. Magnet, magnet. Maybe it'll have to go in the middle. Maybe it can go in the middle down the bottom. So many options, people. If you're going to do a half and half pocket, don't put it in the middle. Or you could, I suppose. I don't want it too close to the bottom. I think about there. So you got to remember seam allowance, and then you don't want it touching the bottom. You want it up a little bit. So that's where I'm putting it. We're going to peel that bit away and then just stitch around all the edges. Can anybody else hear my child screaming? He is yelling at a computer screen. I feel like this will just be my life now. You also notice I'm doing like one stitch at a time. That last bit there was a half stitch so I could get in position. So that's the inner one done, and now we just need to do the outer one. Oh my god, go away! There's a fly inside. You could also stitch this to the vinyl knot attached to here. You could do it as a separate thing, but extra stitching always helps. You could also, if you have an embroidery machine, you could make yourself little embroidery tagged one. Like, oh, I'm gonna get him. He's gonna drive me nuts. Oh, I got him! Anybody else impressed? Because I'm pretty impressed. No, I cannot catch flies with chopsticks, before you ask. So the sun is definitely not out. The rain has currently stopped again, but it has been raining on and off all day. It's just not like flood torrentially raining, which is nice. And we are making the kangaroo, which is my pattern. I love this pattern. I plan on selling these at markets, so I need a lot of them. Jesse! He's shrieking now. I've upgraded to shrieking. Alright. Don't stitch this down yet. We're going to put in magnets, but I'm just... You could also just leave this as a full slip pocket. It wouldn't even matter. You absolutely could. Alright, so what I plan on doing is I'm going to put the magnets on here way later. He probably can't hear you over his shrieking. That is also probably true. Nope. I believe it's probably 1 1/4, but I'm going to do 1 1/2. Alright, 1 1/2 in, 1 1/2 up. Boom. And again, These are a bit adjustable if you use rivet magnets, because I will match up the magnets on the flap at the end, because I can't remember every measurement ever. There are limits to my brain, it turns out. Who knew, right? These now just live on the edge of my table. I have decided is the easiest way, because there's very rarely an item I make that doesn't require them. You've also all recently discovered that I pull it down, and you love that. You should try it. It is amazing. Somewhere in here, I really need to redo my cart. I kind of threw everything in it when we decided to come inside from the rain. These are base stabilizer, and I cut them into 1-inch squares. You can always trim them down further if you need to, but I find them quite handy as a 1-inch. I have also started yet another one of these boxes for the inside move. I also found something really, really cool, and I forgot I had them, and so we're going to use them up very, very, very soon. They are bullets that you rivet onto a bag. The problem is that they're antique silver, so I need to get some hardware that matches them. I could put them with gunmetal, I suppose, but they're like antique silver and fabulous. But I have like 20 or 30 of them or something, and they're really cool, and so they need to go on something. I think they'd look really cool if I did a very fancy version of my Temptress pack, if we're being totally honest. Anyway, so this was me starting to sort out the hardware. I did find this box as a spare that I had. It's not the best, but it'll do. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we need 4 of the ends, and then 2 of the rivet magnets. Now in my shop inside, or outside, sorry, because I'm currently inside, these are in separate bits, but I am limited with the kind of storage I have, and this is working for me. Where did I find the bullets? I want to say, I don't know, AliExpress or something. I think I just typed in decorative rivets, and then I see what comes up. And sometimes stuff all comes up, and then sometimes you get like cool stuff. A lot of the time it's those colored ones, or you can get bejeweled ones with either silver or gold around the edge. So many options. You can get lost in buying them all though, so be careful of that too. We're gonna just clip them on, and then grab this one. So this one I always keep set up as a 10mm rivet press, because it fixes most of my problems. The bullets are very cool though. I've even got a really nice Urban Threads embroidery design. It's heavy, very heavy, but it's got like crisscrossing guns. So that would be what I would put with the bullets. So I would do the guns and then have like a bullet border. I reckon I can envision most of this bag. The problem is I need to get antique silver hardware, I think. I mean, maybe I could get away with black. Would you buy something that had mismatched hardware like that, considering they're bullets? Alright, magnets achieved. Love these things. I'm like, it looked crooked, but I think it's just me and the perspective of how it was sitting. So now we can grab this, line it up, clip it down. I like that my logo's there. Up the top would have been too much, maybe. But it's also because it's black, You can get this in red and blue, but again, they wouldn't suit. So you can get blue and then it engraves either black or silver. But I feel like I would get carried away. In fact, I know I would. Have you met me? I always get carried away. All right. Clipped it together. I am going to stitch the edge and then I will do my division pocket. So I have decided today I'm going to do 2/3 and 1/3 because it's really good for like a pocket book. Those little sarcastic books I made, perfect in a 2/3, 1/3 situation. Really good place to test your speed sewing is when you're basting things together. It's a good way to work up your speed if that's something you're interested in. Hello! I prefer the same hardware color. Yeah, okay. Maybe I'll get some, what do I need? I need 2 zippers and 4 rectangle rings and bag feet because handbags for me have to have bag feet. And then I could make either Vixen or Temptress. And if I can't buy them in that small of a quantity, I'll buy double and make 2. I also need to find some kind of very cool inner fabric. We'll think about that later. What am I looking for? Chaco pen that I filled with the iron away chalk that you get with the pounce that I bought for templates. How's that for a convoluted freaking train of thought? Alright, so 2/3 or thereabouts, I am going to do 6. I'm just going to do 6. I think that that will look nice at 6. So I've gone 6 inches over from the left. And that's where I'm going to put my line because that will be big enough to put a book. And then you've got this thin section where you could put your phone, not your phone, sorry, like a snack, a chocolate bar, your pen. Because you've got to remember there's still a seam allowance that goes around all of this. Now I always stitch these from bottom to top. And then when I get up to the top, like that, I want to go through the lines of stitching and then we're going to go back and then forward and then back and then forward because that is what we call a stress point and I don't want it to rip open. Can you buy small quantities from the small businesses? Yeah, probably. That is what I do plan on doing. And you can just wipe away. Voila, we are not done. Here, on the original pattern, we're going to put a zipper pocket here. And then we'll put, so it'll have a zipper, a slip, and then a bigger slip pocket. I have one antique zipper pull, but it's Star Wars, so that doesn't really go with the whole Western gun thing. Alright. See? Brown and brown. Waterproof canvas to the rescue. And the reason these zipper pockets are waterproof canvas is because I didn't have enough of the blue fabric to cut pockets. There literally wasn't enough. So I compromised and did waterproof canvas zipper pockets. And then you can just say that it's waterproof canvas pockets. Some people would appreciate that. With the way I'm doing this right now, you can make a Tory pocket out of any size, really. 1/2 inch down from the top fold, 1/2 inch down again, 3/4 of an inch in from each side. Literally any size Tory pocket your heart desires. What I didn't do, I also like to cut the center because it's easy to line stuff up. Actually, I have a voucher for Mirzen. I was going to buy, oh my god, so Mirzen just come out with Lord of the Rings vinyl, but because the whole flood thing happened, I missed the release date, and so I missed out. And I'm very sad, because I am definitely a little obsessed with Lord of the Rings. I even have several embroidery designs. And I finally planned on using them too. But I wrecked it. Alright, so you're going to remember, seam allowance at the top, seam allowance in the bottom. Well, not seam allowance, but you just don't want to be on the pocket. And then, in the middle of the... See, I just said words, and my brain instantly connected it to a song. I have issues. I'm just making sure the line's straight, if you're all wondering what I'm doing. I'm not used to buying small quantities of things. I instantly went into bag making, buying large quantities. To be fair, I do use an awful lot of hardware. You think, on average, I make 1 to 3 items a day. That's a lot. That's a lot of hardware. I want to have at least 5 more of this style bag before I go back to the market. And I'm going to try and have like a very broad range of options. Might even do a leather one, although leather always has to cost more because it just does. I don't know about in America, but in Australia, leather is crazy expensive. It's not closely comparative to the price of vinyl. Let's say vinyl's $40 a meter. Leather is like $100 to $300, depending on which one you get. About 3/4 of an inch from the end, we triangle out those corners. I have still thought of nothing cooler to call that, so that's what we're calling it. And then up, finger press, down, finger press, maybe all the way down. Because it's waterproof canvas, it holds that crease beautifully. So this waterproof canvas is the stuff Sandra has. It is slightly different to what I used to have, but it is still pretty good. Double, not that one. Thinner double-sided tape along the edge here, and that will hold the flap down so we can get a nice stitch around. I have these cheap, this bangle here is just stainless steel. I want to see if I can do a very cool like design on it with the laser. It's one of the things I'd like to attempt this week. Because according to our weather, it is literally going to rain every day for the next week still. So I will be staying firmly inside. Not necessarily where it's warm. It's not cold outside, but I don't want to be wet. Also, I don't know if you guys have been watching the news, but crocodiles have been seen like everywhere. And I'm talking like in town, where my husband's clubhouse used to be, which is like right in town. There's a crocodile just swimming down the road. Absolutely not. I don't do crocodiles any more than I do snakes. And even though I know it's not a thing, I still check outside before I go outside to make sure there's nothing violent trying to kill me. Trying to get out of the rain on the deck or something. Crocodiles can't get into my backyard. So that's technically not a worry, and yet never will I not check. See that? And now it's stuck down. Besides, I've seen things on the internet where people wake up and there's just like an alligator or a crocodile in their pool. Paranoia is real, people. Zipper. Pull from the inside and it stays done up. I did pass on this tip yesterday, but I'm going to say it again. Also, I am going to work out how to sharpen scissors, and then I'm going to share it all with you because I'm sick of blunt scissors. And I can't afford to pay a guy $20 per pair of scissors every time they need sharpening, because in my house, that's a lot. The Fiskars ones are fine because I bought the Fiskars scissor sharpener. But my Class A ones, whole different kettle of fish. Oh, I do. I just look out at I can see it from where I'm sitting right here. I can see it now. It's also how I can tell when it's raining because it's smooth. Or you can see the drops. Because sometimes the whole deck is just wet, so you can't tell. Has anybody here made the kangaroo? Or have you purchased the pattern and not quite got around to it yet? I am curious. Okay, that's not working out. So, I don't know why it's not. Yeah, but instead you have snow, and snow for me equals aspartax. So I will pass. I don't do cold. Ha! Did you see that? I managed to rip that. Love it when things work out. Hello everybody, just popping in. Yeah, just started raining again. I can hear it. So let's try that again. I'm going to lay it like that. Flip it. Stick it. Okay, so now that it's stuck, I can just pick it up and throw it around. Makes it a bit easier. We're going to start here, work my way along, and down. Zipper up. Good. One hole too many. Did you know that if you do that, technically you can get a lighter, heat up the vinyl and smush it with your finger and hide the hole? I wouldn't recommend it for big jobs, but like if you've just made one hole too many and it's super noticeable, you can just erase it. I have done it a few times. And now it's too cold. The weather in this room can't quite make up its mind. Well, it's not so much that it gets hot, but it starts getting a bit humid, and I don't like that. I just have the pattern. Really want to make it for my brother, just not enough time. I can understand that. I've made it 4 times. Ooh, I love that you love it. Yeah, asthma sucks. This is still the leftover of my COVID, that cough. I purchased a few other patterns. Ooh, you should definitely get onto that. Strumpet's fun. Strumpet's pretty easy. It's just time consuming. But if you've got these things, game changer. These will work for any horizontal or vertical card slot patterns. So you can use these for Purse Pal, Pocket Pal, Triskel by Sonar, Wench, all the things. Maybe that could be your not de-stashing, but maybe you guys could make a mission to try and work through all your patterns. I always say make everything twice. If you don't like the pattern the first time, it could just be because you weren't used to it. So you should do it a second time just to make sure that you do or don't like it. Because sometimes it's just out of your comfort zone and that's why you don't like it. So if you try it a second time, you've already kind of had a bit of a run through. And the second time you might realize you actually love it now that you understand it. So don't automatically write off patterns if it was like too tricky the first time. I mean, if you don't like the shape of the end result, then that's fine. You don't like the bag. But I'm just saying, like, some patterns, you just kind of have to get used to it. This one I closed completely because we're not turning the bag through here. Wouldn't work out. First attempt at strumpet was a big fail. How come? I want to work through both my bag and clothing patterns. That's fair. Do I have a video for the Guardian? No, but I do have the pattern. It's printed out. Funnily enough, it's in the sewing room and not in here. But I do have it and it is on my list of things to do. But we can't rush these things. I probably should be doing pre-recorded videos instead of all these lives of things that I've, have already done. But I want to make this. And so anything I've already done once, everything else tends to be alive unless it's got important hacking information. Because sometimes I hack things. It happens, it's fine. This is going to cut it close. Whatever. Should be right. Brum, 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 brum. And I just did that out loud instead of my head. I'm only a little bit insane, I promise. So the Guardian is on my list of things to do. I also saw that KA Customers, you can get custom printed Guardian bags. Get out of the way, Zipper. Alrighty. You know what's just occurred to me? Whoa. I didn't cut the other main body piece. Idiot. I've made it 3 times and it won't come out right. That's no good that it went crooked. I find all wallets a little bit fiddly. I actually find handbags easier than wallets. Wallets are smaller, but they've got so much more going on sometimes. Nobody wants to play that game. Alright, I do need to get up and cut another piece of this. It is going to wait. I really hope I've got enough. My brain is slightly freaking out. But I'll make something work. You watch me. In the meantime... I'm making sure that this is right way up. So when we look in the bag, it'll look the right way up. And bam. And this right here is where it becomes easier to do binding. But I'm not going to. But you absolutely can. Not everybody likes binding. And I don't have... Oh, I suppose I could do navy. Navy would suit. But I'm still not going to. Bought myself a Jack Walking Foot industrial sewing machine. Ooh. Yeah, so I definitely find that this machine can sew through a lot more than the green machine with ease. But this machine does not like thin fabrics half as much as the green machine. There's a bit of a trade-off, really. Really, all just depends on what you make your stuff out of. Oh, stop it. This is where we get a lot of tails because I forget to cut them off too. But it's fine. I like gusset style bags. I've decided to hack my own pattern. And I'm going to make quokka with a full gusset instead of a base because I think it's going to be quicker to sew. Which would probably make it more like a Mav pack, to be honest, but with all my added goodies. Works in my head. Works very well in my head. Alright, so then we're going to open both of these out, lay them flat, do the middle bit. And then I'm going to zigzag down because that is where the weight of the bag will be carried on the shoulder strap. So by zigzagging it, it just gives it some added strength, I suppose is the right word. I'm crocodile free, it's fine. Oh, pattern making's fun. I need to get on to pattern making. It's on my list. I can't do it with people home. And Jessie was only at school for like a week before this happened. So it's not like I've had a lot of time to be alone with my thoughts to get creative. But 7 patterns this year is the plan. Hopefully you will love them and support me by purchasing them. And if not, oh well. What do you do? Because I'm concentrating on markets this year, that's why you're going to get a lot of like these lives where I've already made it and you're going to see me do it again. Besides, you never know what random tricks my brain will let you know about. I really hope I've got enough vinyl. I'm actually starting to freak out a little bit. It's going to wreck my whole day if I don't have enough. Whole day. So I need to cut one more of these. God, I love templates. And this is all I've got left. And I don't think I'm going to get it. Well, shiitake mushrooms. I don't think I've got more of that. I'm pretty sure I only bought one roll, but I mean, maybe I didn't. Anyone got any suggestions? Because I absolutely need another piece. Hi, Sandra. Welcome, welcome. No. Okay, so some options become. I have options. They're not great options. I can do this in pieces. You're not going to see the bottom of this. It's just like you'll only see that much of it. I don't have enough of the solid color, or I do that. I'm out of antelope. I don't have enough of this by like 1.5 inches. You could piece it. I could. I might have to. So focused on getting the embroidery part done today that clearly, and I could have cut this a different way in which I did not have this problem potentially, but I was trying to leave a strappy bit like I always do. That's the biggest space there, so that's what we're gonna have to do. And then maybe I could cut like a cool diagonal like that, and then attach some of the solid. I could also have the solid poking up the top. That wouldn't matter either. That might be a nice contrast actually to everything else going on. I also don't have much of that antelope either. Where did I put it? So this is the problem with scrap busting. Like, oh, I should have enough to do a stripe. This is all I've got of that. But if I leave that, at least I can get another wallet out of that. So maybe if I do this as much as I can, and then the bottom bit can be the other stuff. So this is my kangaroo, and I missed a piece when I was cutting. Which is fine. But the embroidery, for those that have come in late, the embroidery on the flap is awesome. It says, what doesn't kill you gives you XP, with a very cool dragon, and I love it. And it's only 3 colors changes. So I did brown, silver, and then black. I'm very happy with how it turned out. It is a design from Urban Threads for those that have an embroidery machine and you'd like to get it. I bought it the other day. They were having a 70% off sale. I also got another one that says it's not procrastinating, it's side questing, which greatly amused me. Can't believe I forgot like a whole piece. Who does that? Me, apparently. So I'm thinking the side questing one I will make into a trollop, because in my brain that's really cool. Apparently they all need to have flaps. So this is all that's left of that. This is definitely a scrap now. I mean, it was before, but now it really is. I suppose we can stop worrying about a strap. Although, if I'm going to make a trollop, I still want the strap. So we want to go to the other end. We need a bit of an overlap. That looks crooked. That line's crooked. It absolutely is. It's all right. We're going to cut it about there. And we're going to do it here because I can make a wristlet strap out of the side. Should I be worrying this much about a piece of scrap? Probably not. But I'm going to anyway. Keeping in mind that we need the bottom curve because that was nearly a problem. All right. Didn't quite turn out the way I planned, guys. I planned to have it all ready. Oh, whatever. I am keeping this. The fact that I can't even get this out of it is a problem. So we're doing, yeah, I like kangaroo, Sandra. It's one of my favorites. I also really love vixen. I would quite happily just make vixens all the time. So this I'm classifying as a scrap. I plan on doing a trollop out of said scraps, so leave that with me. Because I'm trying not to just hoard bits like that. I may as well just make it and be done. Why do I keep doing this to myself? Back, lining, front, scrap, there it is. I'm like, where did it go? The answer is here. See, that line's a bit crooked. I'm sure of it. So let's get the ruler and just make sure. This end, so this end is just over 6.5, and this end is 6.25. So it is slightly out. Let's actually make it 6.25 all the way along. Straighten it up. I mean, I could have had an angle, but if you're going to do an angle, you're going to do a bigger angle than that because that will just look out of place. Either do an extreme angle or do it straight. Don't do like a I'm dodgy and can't cut straight kind of an angle. Because that's a terrible idea. Stitch, back stitch. I mean, ultimately crisis averted, but you know. I am going to open this out because I want it to sit flat, otherwise that's going to be weird in the bag. I love Vixen. I should make a square version of Vixen. Has anyone seen that already? Is there like a square version of Vixen out there? Because I will happily make, because I love that pattern. But instead of it being completely round on top, I could do one that's kind of more square. I really do love Vixen. Oh, okay. So with that said, now we take this again. I was just eyeballing how much I needed and then overestimated. So now we just need to cut off that little bit and we're back on track. Back on track. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Alrighty. Let's clip it in place, tack it down, make sure that lining's behaving. All right, corners in place, check. And this is why I didn't put interfacing on the main panel, because look at how bulky that is. It does not need it. If you put foam on here, it's too much, in my opinion. If you made all of yours out of fabric with no interfacing, it might be a different story. Or if you're doing wax canvas, obviously thinner but still firm. But vinyl, no siree, Bob. Definitely not thicker. Random tails. Oh, I missed a bit. That's right. It'll be fine. So that's now our front. We always do linings first. Always, without fail, attach your lining first. For so many reasons. Also, if you wanted to, you could put slip pockets on this other side. At some point, there is such a thing as too many pockets, in my opinion. Ooh, it's getting dark outside. Okay, so there's my 4 points. I already did the other piece earlier. We're going to take this, find the center bottom of the base piece. I think a squarer version of Vixen would be awesome. If you guys agree, let me know, and I will turn it into one of my upcoming patterns. And I'll call it Vixen Squared, because it's a maths reference for those that don't know. Because as creative as my brain is, I see patterns as maths. It's all just maths. Raining, it's coming. Okay, see, it's coming. But that's all right, because I'm staying inside. Out of the rain. I hear an aeroplane in the sky. I know they landed everything the other day. I'm assuming they're back up and running at the moment because I hear a plane. And it's not loud enough to be an army plane. Alright, we've got centers on all the bits. I'm going to put the easiest one in first, but maybe, actually, maybe not. What we need to do is we need to think of, when we turn the bag out, right? This is the front. I'm going to put a clip there so that I know. Which means this is the back, and on the back, I want the zipper pocket. That's how I like my bags. So this side here is going to have what I'm classifying as the front. No, okay, so I mean, you can have too many pockets, but you can't. I suppose it depends. I love Trollope, and I do think the pockets on Trollope are relevant to the size of the bag. But a bag like this, I do feel like you could potentially overkill it with pockets. And I don't know why, but the Trollope pockets are perfect. You could put more pockets on here. You could put a slip pocket here. But I feel like at some point, they're just not going to get used. There's already like a wall full of pockets. You've got 2 slip pockets and a zipper pocket on the front, a slip pocket on the back, a zipper pocket on the inside. You could do a phone pocket on this one, I suppose. There probably is such thing as too many pockets. But again, it depends on your audience and how much they're willing to spend. Every time you add pockets, you should be adding money because it is both time and more fabric and interfacing and stitching, potentially, and zippers. I have a sneaking suspicion that something is not quite adding up over here. Alright, corners in. I'm wondering if I did a different seam allowance on this bag because I just did 1/2 inch and I have a sneaking suspicion I should have done 3/8. Whoopsies. It's alright, I'll make it fit. Oh, and break another clip. They are definitely at the end of their life, my lot of clips. I have snapped 5, I think, now, since I have moved my stuff inside, like a few days ago. If pockets make you happy, there's no such thing as too many pockets. I have decided that I have reached limits on certain bags. There you go. Or I just changed my mind. Take your pick. It is my prerogative to change my mind. Oh, there's Spanish flea. It's back. That's annoying. Alright. Looks like a big mess. Probably classified as a big mess. Should be right. So just start anywhere that makes you happy. Anywhere you can get to, really. Also, if you have issues where your lining is a bit scrunchy on the inside of a bag, sew your lining at the 1/2 inch and then sew your exterior at 3/8 of an inch, and it will make your lining sit flat and tight because technically it's a bit smaller. It's a tip I haven't given out lately, so I'm giving it out now. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Rev that machine. It's fun. I do it more for fun than actual usefulness, let's be honest. Well, cutting out pockets is a pain, but that is also why we have templates, like a Tory pocket. So if you want a zipper pocket, you just cut one of them with a template. I have those templates, which is why they're not inside, sitting separately next to my cutting area. I'm going to leave some of that top. The rest of it, though, can come right off. Also, cutting this down will help the pockets sit nicer inside as well. Chop, chop, chop. Cutting anything can be painful, and then some days I prefer to cut to sew. That's why I have those tubs. So if I'm in the mood to cut, I can cut multiple things and still be somewhat organized. Speaking of cutting, I need to cut out some clothes. I bought in some patterns earlier. And technically I've done a video today. Now I left the top bit where the zipper is. I left some of the seam allowance there. I will show you why later. Let's do the other lining side. Also make sure your zipper's open. It's easier to maneuver. So this side should have your zipper and the bottom of this part should be open. This is where we're going to turn part of the bag through, I suppose. So I'm going to clip the top, and then I'm going to hold the bottom in line, and I'm not going to clip the bottom. We're going to leave the bottom of the bag open because it is easier to turn through the bottom rather than the zipper pocket. We all know I'm lazy. Alright, so then we go back up to the top, flip that vinyl out of my way. This is the curse of doing it with no binding. It does get very fiddly. If you did this with binding, you could just back up the exterior liner pieces, stitch them together, and then it's just one lot of stitching all the way. But I didn't do it that way today because I didn't feel like it, and you can't make me. If I had excess of the lining fabric, I could make binding out of that. It does not have to be cut on the bias. I never do it. Also, I mainly use cotton fabrics, which are stretchy enough you don't need to. Or I've got my poly, whatever it is. I don't know what it's made out of. I call it poly. I don't know if it's polyester, polyurethane, poly something. It's these side bits here that get tricky, which can mess up your corners. Bring it down, join it together. Okay, so I've left the bottom open. We're going to turn the bag through there because it'll be easier, and then we can just pull that bit through the zipper pocket and just stitch it shut then. Because again, I hate turning. I hate struggling. There's no need to struggle. It really is fun to rev, guys. Oh, don't be like that. Go back where you were told. Ugh, everything out of the way. I can't help but close at that side bit because gussets. Lift, pull, ugh, just broke my thread, whoopsies. Not lazy, efficient. I mean, well, it is lazy. Absolutely lazy. I'm okay being labelled lazy. I don't mind. I'm not offended. Okay, so inside is done. And now we're essentially going to turn this inside out so that I can do the exteriors. One would imagine, maybe? I don't know. What am I doing? I clipped a pin earlier to the front so that I can figure... No? Was it the front? Yes. So I can grab my front. We're going to fold it in half and find center top on the front. We should already have center bottom. And then line up the centers and off we go. Now you'll need a lot more clips for your exterior than your lining because this one tries to move. Jerk like that. Lots more clips. You'll also notice I still haven't put the before I forget, back panel, flat piece, right sides together, because that'll come up and over. We're going to tack that together because I have forgotten before. It is a thing that I apparently do. Magic skill of mine. forget to attach bits. And then you have to unpick. Nobody wants that. So we're just going to stitch it on now. Ta-da! Now I won't forget because I would have forgotten. I can almost guarantee I would have forgotten. And I've done that before where I remember, I'm like, oh, that's cool. I've just remembered. I'll remember for later. And then I don't. And then I have to unpick it to attach a flap. And I feel like I did that in a video because I forgot. Never assume your brain will remember. Lots and lots of clips. Now I put the foam in the gusset because it'll just make it sit more firmly, I would assume. Now this corner's thick because of the insane amount of layers of vinyl that I have put in this bag. It'll be fine. Lots and lots and lots of clips. And then the other side. This bag's taking a long time today, isn't it? Getting hungry. I mean, I'm nearly there, so I'm not going to stop now. But I am getting hungry. Alright, look at that. I've got 3 clips remaining. I regret nothing. Nothing! Alright, under we go. Like I said earlier, we'll sew this side at 2/3 of an inch. No, not 2/3. 3/8. My gosh. Maths, people. And that will make the lining just a bit snugger. All this out of the way. Make sure that those side seams are pointed down. Chop, snip, zigzag scissors for the corners. And again, I'm going to leave that bit up the top there. I'm also going to have to pick up all the rubbish I just made fall on the floor. It's fine. Everything else gets a bit thick, too thick for the zigzag scissors. Also get rid of your tails. Chop. I'm trying not to make a mess. The less mess I make, the longer I can probably stay inside. Okay, last piece. We need center bottom. Chop. And then now's about the time I need to make sure that there's absolutely no more pieces anywhere. I do have the magnets as far as hardware is concerned, but everything else, this is for a wristlet strap to make a matching key fob chain set thing, so that doesn't count. Otherwise, my tub is now empty. So we are done, pretty much. I mean, one more piece, and then we're done. Oh, I really just love this. The whole reason I'm making this is for this flap. So what we want to do is I like to shove the flap into the slip pocket so it stays out of my way. I won't accidentally stitch it especially in the bottom seam. So it's folded up in there, so it's not down near the bottom of that either. Out of the way. Center bottom, line her up. And see the bag foam? Because I put it in the gusset, it's holding its shape really nicely. Now, if you're on a domestic, make it within the seam allowance, but because this machine can sew all the layers of the universe, I went with all the way to the edge because it was easy to cut. And I was feeling a little bit lazy, and I do not regret it at all. Center top, across the top, and then the other way. So again, the more layers you've got, the more stubborn it's going to be to clip together. So you may have to really kind of yank on it. Don't feel bad. If it can't handle being yanked on, it absolutely can't handle being someone's day bag. Like it all. You need to be able to manhandle the bag properly. This little bit here, always point it towards the floor. I can't remember why. There is a reason for it though. You're just going to have to trust me on it today. Alright, I like to grab the corners and then just kind of pull everything into shape. Works out for me that way. Ha! Caught it. Hello, Patty. We will be getting more rain. I've just been informed it's on the way. But we got a bit of a break, so most of my backyard is not looking like a swamp, which is nice. But we have kept the sandbags over my sewing room just in case, because there is more rain coming. It's going to rain every day for the next week, but shops are open again today, so that's nice. Oh, this time I've got 4 clips left over, but I understand that that looks like a lot of clips, and it probably is, but it's also much less likely to move on me while I try and sew it together. Red fluff. And the outside, again, I'm going to sew at 3/8 of an inch instead of half. Because the lining will sit nicer. Because the lining was done at half. You also do the outside at half and the inside at 3/4 or 5/8, or, you know, whatever makes you happy. Really hoping I'm not missing anything in these corners. Shove it all out the way, and off we go. Clean up the clips as you go, otherwise they fall on the floor. Backstitch. Alright, I'm going to take my heavier duty scissors and trim off the corners. And when I say trim, I really mean hack, because it's thick. These scissors are half blunt. Now, before we turn it through, I'm going to take the lining and the exterior at the top and stitch them together just a little bit. And this will prevent the lining from sagging inside the bag. By a bit, I'm like 4-ish inches. what it does is, I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes in bags, this little lining under the zipper sags down and it doesn't look very pretty. So by stitching them like this, it's going to hold it at the same height and then stop the sagging. Which I think is important, because why go to all the effort to make a pretty bag for then it not to look pretty? Which is also where the binding comes in. So the binding holds that together and solves that problem too. But then you've got to see your binding. So 6 in one, half a dozen in the other. We're going to go into the bottom of the bag. We're going to grab a corner. The flap has been tucked away. Otherwise I would grab the flap first. The way I like to turn through bags is to basically shove it all in. If you can get the lining to cover everything, and I'll show you what I mean. Not quite it, but if I can get that little bit in, so see that? If you can get the bag where the lining covers it, from here, it's a cakewalk. You just grab a bit and pull. 9 times out of 10, it just falls out. There's the flap. Oh, not the flap, the strap. Here's the flap. Ta-da! And now that we're here, I'm just going to put my hand in, punch out those corners, making sure that they're fabulous, and making sure I don't have to turn them through. It's so pretty! Oh my gosh. Look at it. Now, see here? See how that is not sagging? So when I turn that under, and you might not be able to see, but see how this no longer sags? It's because we tacked it in at that seam. So there's no floppy bit at the top here. Alright, so I'm now going to put my hand into the zipper pocket and then pull through just the lining to stitch the bottom of the bag closed. And then we're nearly done. Home stretch. 2 more seams and some magnets. This again is why I love rivet magnets. Yoink. Nice and even. Back stitch. Trim it. Once you're done, you can cut up the scrap vinyl left to make matching items. Well, no, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a trollop with the other embroidery design that says it's not procrastinating, it's side questing. Or it's a side quest or something like that. So I'm going to make another whole bag with that scrap. It's not just going to be turned into scrap things. And stage, I have plans. It's going to make a trollop. You watch me. If I get time, I might even make it off camera and then show you the photos. So this was 1/2 meter of the vinyl. The lining was like a large, I wouldn't classify it as a scrap because it was on one of my boards, but it wasn't like a full meter. I had less than 1 meter of the lining. The flap vinyl was a scrap. So I've only got a tiny bit of that left. But again, because the trollop's so piecey with the way I designed trollop, all these pieces are going to work out wonderfully. And I went out this morning, opened up my shed, which was a pain, and brought in the trollop templates. Purely so I could do this. I want to make a harridan. Harridan is actually, it's on my list. I just didn't bring it inside. Okay, so nearly there. Zip it up, flap it over, make sure it's sitting properly. Pull that, do. Come on, corners. I didn't poke out the corners properly, so let's do that now. I love Harridan. I'm gonna hack a Harridan actually. I started and then I can't remember why I stopped. I think my templates weren't all together, so I stopped. So now all I have to do is put on the two, what's it called? Magnets. Down here. Look at that. Isn't that fabulous? Oh, with all the Dungeons and Dragons of the universe. So, with that being said, we need this. Probably could have put the magnets up higher now that I look at it. I will need to roll this. If you want to get a more crisper edge as well, piping is your friend for such matters. So I'm just going to hold it in place, get a pen or a sewel, you can totally use a sewel, line it up, stab it in. Hi-ya! That high, right about. There. Is that right? That doesn't look right. You know what else you can do? This. Because I'm feeling extra lazy. Boom. Classy, I know, but whatever. You'll forgive me. Then we're going to punch proper holes. Again, with the pulling motion, it's way easier when you're sitting. This bit out. This bit in. Scissors away. Magnet. Under. Squish. Sandra, I'm wearing your ring today. I felt like it. I also put all of my bracelets back on because I was feeling that too. It's a jewelry kind of a day, it would seem. Not that I'm going anywhere. I mean, I did go down the street, but I actually put the jewelry on once I got home. Ta-da! On an angle, so it looks fabulous. It just needs some, like, Tory squishing, but I love it. Love it! And so then when you open it, you've got all the pockets of the universe. And this needs a Tory squish. But you get the idea, right? So I'm going to sell this one for $95. I normally sell these for $85. This one will be $95 because there's a lot of like exclusive stuff and embroidery. So basically embroidery, if I do embroidery on a bag, it's an extra $10. I don't do it. I know some people charge like by the 1,000 stitches. I just add $10. Let's be honest. I make my money and I'm happy. Why overcomplicate it? So I won't be getting photos of that today, but it does look amazing. Alright, so I'm going to take these off and put the normal ones back in because I like to keep some semblance of order, believe it or not. And then put these back in the tub. Even though there's like a crap load, I can actually identify each one just by looking at it without having it labeled. That comes with using them so much. I used to keep them in Ziploc bags where I could tell what they were. But anyway, so this will be, the strap will be this on the trollop, and then it'll have some accenty bits of this fabric with a different embroidery design. It looks amazing. I love it. Each to their own though. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. That's also fine. But that's me done, and I'm going to go eat now because it's 1:30 in the afternoon and I need a snack or lunch or something. But thank you all for popping in. Hopefully I taught you something, or maybe just inspired you to go make something with your embroidery machine. Or HTV. You could do a HTV version of this. Would still be very cool. Very cool. Anyway, I'm off. Bye guys.